Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on your time zone, and welcome to Moral Compass 101. It is my hope and prayer, as it has always been, that you have had a great week. Welcome to a new month of May. My week has been a week of pensive thoughts, following what is happening in the land of Tata Horishasha Mandimba Mandela. And before we continue, I will like to invite you to subscribe to Moral Compass 101 as we continue to garner knowledge, which is a human necessity that no man can have enough. Like and share my videos so that we can spread knowledge, and comment so that we can interact corrective free. Having said that, a quick recap of our last week where we talked about self-discipline, and I said that the three aspects of self-discipline are consistency, persistence, and resistance. Today, allow me to divert a bit from our topic of a human being who is becoming, in the need to address the unfortunate issues that are happening in South Africa. These will bring a new topic of the day, which is xenophobic vigilantism. Xenophobic vigilantism. The year was 2015, April to be precise, when Zulu King Goodwill addressed his followers an occurrence that triggered xenophobic vigilantism of 2015 that saw 7 people lose their lives. Fast forward to mid-April 2026, and Jacinta Gombasa Zuma is leading xenophobic vigilantism under the slogan March and March movement. March and March movement. In some occasions, she likes calling it March and March till we win movement. Unfortunately, this movement and the like will see the obliteration of Pan-Africanism. From Zulu, Umutu, Gumuntu, Gabantu, which translates to I am a person through the people, to Shona, Diri, Tekutiritiri, which translates to I am a person through people, the founding fathers of Pan-Africanism as a social capital of Ubuntu. I am because we are is at the verge of collapse through xenophobia. Xenophobia is a situation whereby the locals or the citizens believe that their failure, especially economic failure, is due to the influx of immigrants into their land. And in South Africa, they have taken law into their hands, and that's why I'm calling xenophobic vigilantism. It's so unfortunate that we are busy pointing fingers to our fellow African brothers and sisters for the influx to our townships and our cities, with a total disregard of our corrupt politicians who, in the name of leadership, have continued to choke African economic progress through their immense looting of public resources and massive corruption. while it is easier to blame the vulnerable, we have totally disregarded, our political leaders who have continued to put the continent of Africa into jeopardy following their corrupt and their greed practices. Instead of demanding total accountability from political class, we spared restless days and sleepless nights, prejudicing, hunting and chasing our African brothers and sisters from our township to cities in the name of economic sabotage. True to the African proverb, a fish rots from the head downwards. A fish rots from the head downwards. The influx of Africans to the affluent economic zones is an indisputable depiction of corrupt political leadership that forces people in their thousands to relocate in a dire quest of greener pastures. That, we cannot disregard the fact that, the rotten systems, the failure of our systems and policies is what is making an influx of immigrants to South Africa and to other parts of Africa. And if we continue with the trajectory of xenophobia, then we shall have obliterated, the call of a united Africa through Ubuntu, which is the capital, the social capital of Pan-Africanism. Regrettably, a man is born free, but everywhere he goes, he's in chains. These people left war zones, they left their dilapidated economies in search of green pastures, but they have found themselves being victims of xenophobia. So, what is the way out? While I'm not ignorant that some immigrants aren't abiding to the laws of their host nations, a majority of the immigrants are deliberately in pursuit of their livelihood while totally adhering to the laws of the law to the letter. That's, we cannot dispute that there are people who migrate to other countries or to other regions and then they don't want to abide to the laws of that land. But a majority of people who migrate in search of green pastures, they stick to their cause to the core. My constructive criticism against xenophobic vigilantism is a proposal whereby instead of attacking the hard-working, law-abiding immigrants, some of whom have gone to an extent of creating jobs through their businesses, time is long overdue where we must hold our political leaders into account over the deplorable socio-economic standards of our mother continent, lest we continue with this inhumane act of prejudicing our African brothers and sisters out of falsehood mindset and unjustifiable fear that they are the one responsible for depleting our resources. See, human beings are known to go for the weaker targets, and this is what is happening in South Africa. Instead of holding their leaders accountable, they are diverting their attention from bad leadership to immigrants occupying, the spaces and the jobs that they're supposed to be doing. But the core problem is failed systems and policies, not only in South Africa, but in the 55 countries that make the entire continent of Africa. this is a problem that needs to be solved. Otherwise, this xenophobia will continue repeating itself. This unjustifiable act of xenophobic vigilantism can only deal with the symptoms but not the root cause. The root cause is not the immigrants. The root cause is failed policies and corrupt leaders. That's why it's a recurring issue, because it was there in 2015. 16 years later, it's here with us. In April 2015, that's exactly 16 years ago, the South African brothers and sisters carried xenophobic riots in both Durban and parts of Joburg, which led to the demise of 7 people. 16 years later, the problem still persists, because when we deal with the symptoms and not the root cause, then rest assured that the problem will persist immediately or at a later date. Until we adamantly deal with the root cause of immigrants' proliferation, which is policy and political leadership failure, this unjustifiable xenophobic vigilantism will remain an effort in futility. I think that's self-explanatory. I'm not disparaging what the people of South Africa are going through, not at all. But I'm calling for root cause analysis to these economic and social problems. It is not caused by the immigrants. It's caused by the leaders. A majority of African countries have a golden opportunity after every few years to elect political leaders of immense integrity. Unfortunately, we, times without number, recycle the extremely greedy, power-hungry, and corrupt to the core politicians after receiving a handout of their pocket change, and magically expect them to adhere to accountability of public resources and good governance. That's what's happening everywhere in Africa. That when we go to the ballot, we recycle the same old minded individuals, corrupt to the core, because they gave us handouts, which is just a pocket change and part of what they have rooted from the public coffers. But we magically expect them to reform our economy to the better. No, it shall never happen. We have ourselves to blame for electing incompetent and integrity questionable individuals. In the very words of Albert Einstein, insanity is doing the same thing the same way over and over again, but expecting different results. Are we not insane? That definition meets our criteria very well. So, the spirit of Pan-Africanism from our forefathers like Dr. Francis Kwame Nkrumah of Ghana, Jomo Kenyatta of Kenya, Mwalimu Julius Kambarage Nyerere of Tanzania, and His Majesty Haile Selassie of Ethiopia is slowly dying because of xenophobia. In closing, until we develop a muscle of holding the political class accountable over public resources, negate our complacency in mediocrity, and refrain from immigrant prime deflection, the status quo of them versus us, the haves versus the have-not, the poor versus the rich, and the elites versus the proletarians is here to stay if we don't deal with the root cause. But times in number continue dealing with the symptoms, then the status quo of the rich versus the poor will forever remain. You know, politicians like when we blame ourselves, when we blame each other, but not blame them for the economic failures, of the nation. Please take time and think about these words. And until next time, please stay safe. Continue praying for South Africa and at large the whole mother continent of Africa. Blessings and shalom.